Okay, and again, welcome. This event is being put on by Sustainable Contra Costa in partnership with the Contra Costa County Resources team of Spare the Air and also 511 Contra Costa. And later on in the event, we'll be able to learn about a few pledges we can take to help clean our air. Stephanie will present one of them, and then I'll share the Clean Air Day pledge. And finally, at the very end of the presentation, you can stay tuned for a fun way that a fun tool that we can use to fight climate change together. That's the Cleaner Contra Costa Challenge, which is a free online platform that gives us actions we can do in our homes and our communities to create cleaner and also communities that are more resilient for the future. So as we know, air quality is super important in our communities. It definitely affects our quality of life. It affects how we think about our surroundings, but also our health and the livelihoods or the health of plants, animals, and natural resources are also threatened when air pollution reaches high levels. And air pollution is measured by a scale called the Air Quality Index. The AQI goes from 0 to 500. And essentially it measures the concentrations of 5 pollutants in the atmosphere, which includes carbon monoxide and also particulates or small particles of dust, ash, or soot. So essentially, we can look up these values, as you probably know, and just get a little bit of guidance about how we should alter our activities if necessary. So for example, if it's above 100 but below 150, those of us with pre-existing health conditions like asthma have to change our activities a little bit. And as we know, air quality is very important. This is a picture that was taken a few weeks ago here in Contra Costa County. And we know that air pollution can be caused by things like vehicle emissions, heating homes with natural gas, and also byproducts of things we do like manufacturing and power generation. We also know that natural or human-caused wildfires can lead to unhealthy air. So while we can do work as individuals, and we'll talk about that today as well, we also have to work in our communities to make sure that we're talking to our representatives and holding them accountable. So they're thinking about air quality and also how the growing threat of climate change affects air quality. Now, as I briefly mentioned before, air quality can affect our health. It can increase our chances of things like asthma, cardiovascular disease, and lung disease, and children are especially susceptible because their lungs are developing, and they can also experience asthma and changes in their respiratory health. Something important to point out too is that air quality is an environmental justice issue. Redlining, or the preferential drawing of districts and changing how they'll be invested in through these drawing of district lines has led to development for interests such as polluting industries and also infrastructure like roadways to be built often through communities of color. And so that leads them often to experience more air pollution than communities that are predominantly white. So for example, according to a science study, that's a scientific journal that came out this year, fine particle pollution has actually decreased about 70% since 1981. And that's great, right? However, not everyone in our country is experiencing that equally. The researchers in the study found that the most polluted census tracts in 1981 remained the most polluted in 2016. So there wasn't much change for those that were experiencing the most polluted air back in the 80s. And there's a quote there from one of the researchers. We know that air pollution can lead to as many as 9 million premature deaths worldwide each year. So it's something that definitely affects our quality of life. And we're seeing a lot of the effects here in California over the past 5 years. Now, this is a quick chart I used from a study that I thought was also interesting. This chart is showing the burden of pollution in Contra Costa County, especially relating to asthma rates. And the researchers in the study found that asthma rates were increased in areas where there tended to be more refineries, and also in the Pittsburgh area. It's not marked on the map because it's not a refinery, but there's a Dow chemical plant there. So they found that communities of color, especially in Richmond and Antioch, were found to have higher rates of asthma. And that's thought to be due to their proximity to those industries. Next, I'd love to share a short presentation from Kirsten Riker of 511 Contra Costa. She's not able to be with us here today, so I have a quick pre-recorded presentation. So I'll make that happen. Okay.
Good morning.
Thanks for your patience. I'm just making sure I showed this correctly. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Kirsten from 511 Contra Costa. We are a countywide program that strives to reduce traffic congestion and improve air quality by providing the public with information, resources, and tools that promote mobility options beyond driving alone. Improving air quality and reducing CO2 emissions is at the core of why our program exists. So thank you for participating in today's program. I'm sure glad to be part of it. Driving, of course, is part of the culture here in Contra Costa. And in fact, 79% of county residents commute by driving alone. If you think about Highway 4 during peak congestion, you might think it's closer to 100%. Believe it or not, there are a number of ways you can actually get around without a car. In this presentation, I'm going to show you a few ways you can drive less, spend less, stress less, and of course, reduce your carbon footprint. If your job allows it, working from home is a no-brainer. You'll not only save time and money, you'll also be reducing greenhouse gas emissions by eliminating all those commute trips. Shortly after the shelter-in-place order took effect and forced people to stop commuting, we surveyed residents about their experiences working from home. Non-supervising employees and managers both agreed that productivity remained at least as good or better when employees work from home. We also found out that employees overwhelmingly, and I mean 97% of you, want to keep working from home at least one day a week post-COVID. So if you think your job is one that can be done effectively from home, speak to your employer. 511 Contra Costa has toolkits and resources on our website that can help employers establish permanent work-from-home policies. Of course, we realize that not every job can be done from home. So if possible, consider biking or walking for at least part of your commute. If you don't have a commute or your commute is too far away for active transportation, consider local trips and try walking or biking to some of those. It's inexpensive, reduces traffic congestion, and cuts down on emissions while keeping you active. 511 Contra Costa's Bike Mapper can help you plan your routes. Our Bike Mapper allows you to select preferences for route type and hill tolerance. Now, of course, I know bike riding isn't for everyone. If you're not up for all the exercise, or your route includes too many hills, or you just don't want to bother with the sweat, then consider an electric bike. We're super excited about our brand new rebate program that provides Contra Costa residents from each city with $150 cash rebates for the purchase of a new electric bike. $300 rebates are available for residents with a qualified low income. E-bikes are battery-powered and recharged by plugging into a standard power outlet. Its fun factor, zero-emission footprint, Nearly effortless cruising speeds of up to 28 miles per hour and low lifetime costs make it attractive for replacing local car trips without sacrificing COVID-safe personal space. E-bike rebates are limited and available for residents of each Contra Costa city on a first-come, first-served basis. Find complete rebate details at 511cc.org/rebate. And try setting an example for the kids in your life. Regular walking and biking as a child helps build a foundation for healthy, active living as an adult. And even though kids are doing school from home right now, we urge you to practice walking or biking the route to school with your kids. When classes return to campus, you'll be ready to start a healthy new habit. Our Safe Routes to School program, called Street Smarts Diablo, has lots of resources for families and schools. Visit streetsmartsdiablo.org for youth-focused traffic safety materials, as well as lots of fun family activities that will get everyone outside and moving. Another way to reduce your carbon footprint is to use public transportation. Tri-Delta Transit serves all of East Contra Costa County, and every effort is being made to ensure rider and driver safety during COVID, including touchless fares, frequent cleaning, physical distancing, and of course a mask requirement. This fall, Tri-Delta plans to upgrade its services and will be seeking public input. Please visit transformtrideltatransit.com for opportunities to share your feedback. BART ridership, as you've probably heard, took a nosedive since COVID. And in response, BART has implemented an aggressive 15-step plan that makes returning to BART as safe as possible. If you're one of the thousands of former BART riders who have turned to driving back and forth on Highway 4, I urge you to visit BART.gov to learn about COVID safety. BART has never been as clean as it is. Carpooling is another great way to remove another car from the road. Not only that, it cuts your gas bill and gives you access to carpool lanes and toll-free access to the express lanes. During COVID, commuting with someone you know can feel more comfortable and feel safer than carpooling with a stranger. So consider starting a buddy carpool with a family member, neighbor, or coworker. And if you're still working from home, now is a great time to start talking with coworkers about carpool groups so that you'll have a carpool plan ready to go when the office eventually opens back up. Some of you might be thinking, okay, these options are great for other people, but for me, driving is the only thing that's going to work. And I get it. Sometimes driving is the best option. So consider purchasing or leasing a new or used electric vehicle. They're not only quiet and fun to drive, they also produce zero emissions and save you a ton of money. With an EV, you can forget about buying gas, getting oil changes, smog checks, and most other annoying trips to the mechanic. Plus, lots of rebates and incentives are available to make this option more affordable. If you're ready to make the switch from driving alone, 511 Contra Costa has incentive programs to make it easier. If you pledge to try a new mode, you can apply for a preloaded $20 Clipper card in our Tri-Transit program. Or you can apply for a $25 check in our Drive Less incentive program. Buy one, get one free bus passes and van pool incentives are available as well. Beyond the environmental and cost-saving rewards of driving less, using an alternative travel mode can be much less stressful than driving alone. To remove even more stress, 511 Contra Costa has no-cost commuter insurance through our Guaranteed Ride Home program. When you walk, bike, carpool, van pool, or take public transit to work, don't worry about emergencies. You won't need to scramble to find a ride home or pay for an expensive Uber or Lyft if there's an emergency and you need to get home fast. Sign up for free at 511cc.org/GRH, and the program will reimburse you for up to 6 free Uber or Lyft rides home per year. And just for fun, try the Miles app. It's free to download, fun to use, and lets you earn points for every mile you travel. And hint, Green modes get you the most points. 511 Contra Costa runs bike and transit challenges on this app platform for extra rewards as well. That's it for my presentation this morning. If you missed anything or want to learn more, please visit our website, shoot me an email, and follow us on social media. Thank you for listening and have a great day.
Okay, so that was our presentation from Kirsten at 511 Contra Costa. And personally, I thought it was really amazing that she pointed out that we have some methods for transportation we can use, even if we're not able to bike right now. California actually just signed a new initiative saying that by 2035, all new cars have to be either hybrids or electric. So it's really exciting to start thinking about all those options that could be in front of us. So I'm going to go back to my presentation. Just one moment. Okay, and again, I just encourage you to check out their website. It's 511contracosta.org. They have a page for incentives where you can check out a free Clipper card you can get if you take the pledge to switch up your commute. And again, that e-bike rebate program. So now I'd love to introduce Stephanie Anderson from the Spare the Air Contra Costa County resource team. She'll share some information about the Idle Free Pledge and also a little bit more about the Spare the Air alerts.
Thank you, Colleen. You want to just advance the slide? Thank you. So, so first of all, I thank you for asking me to be here. A little bit about who I am. So I work with Spare the Air resource teams throughout the Bay Area for the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. I am not Air District staff, so I'm going to keep my comments about Spare the Air and their programs fairly high level and can provide context if you have more specific questions than I can answer. But obviously, we have seen a lot of Spare the Air days. We've had well over a month of almost straight Spare the Air days due to the wildfires. And Spare the Air alerts are called when air quality is forecast to be unhealthy. So it is a forecast. Every once in a while, we'll have a Spare the Air alert called, and there is no actual exceedance of the health, the standards that have been set. But that's because it is a forecast. So what the Air District is predicting is that we'll have either high levels of ground level ozone or particulate matter. It's called PM 2.5, that is fine particulates. These are tiny particles, 2.5 microns in diameter. And the reason these are of greater concern than larger particulates is because they can actually bypass the body's defenses and get into the bloodstream and eventually cause heart problems and other kinds of problems. So while we see ash floating around, and that's very disturbing to see, it's actually not as harmful to our health because we're not inhaling that, and it's not getting into the bloodstream. So it's that PM 2.5 is the number that you will hear referenced with regard to the wildfires and the smoke that's in the air. So you can stay and be advised about Spare the Air alerts many different ways. Spare the Air is on Facebook, Twitter, all the social media channels. And you can also sign up to get alerts at sparetheair.org. You want to advance the slide?
Spare the Air alerts protect public health. To determine if a Spare the Air alert will be called, meteorologists at the Air District produce daily air quality forecasts. We look at weather patterns, temperatures, wind speeds, wind direction, and pollution levels, as well as other factors such as regional wildfires that may affect air quality in the Bay Area. In the summertime, vehicle exhaust combined with hot temperatures and light winds creates ozone, or smog. In the summer, transportation is the largest source of air pollution in the Bay Area. In the wintertime, we monitor fine particulates, or PM 2.5, from wood burning, the largest source of air pollution in the region during the winter. A Spare the Air alert is called when air pollution is expected to be unhealthy and exceed national air quality standards. During Spare the Air alerts in the summer, we encourage the public to reduce air pollution by choosing alternatives to driving alone like carpooling or taking transit. In the winter, wood burning is banned during Spare the Air alerts. Follow these links to get the latest air quality forecasts and learn how you can help spare the air. Remember, it's your air. Protect it.
Okay, thank you. So that video, we were talking about this earlier, Colleen. The video is actually a little bit out of date, and it talks about summer Spare the Air versus winter Spare the Air. There have been recent changes to the Spare the Air program that now wood burning can be banned throughout the year, and this can be, and this is due to the wildfires because we're having these fires earlier and earlier in the season. So what this means is that sometimes when there's a spare alert called, the air district will call a wood burning ban, don't light tonight, asking people not to light fires. This may seem kind of obvious, like why would I be lighting a fire in a fireplace when there's a wildfire burning? But if you live in an area where it's really not being affected by the wildfires, some people will want to light a fire. So we're asking people not to do that because it contributes to the overall load of the particulate matter in the air. So my emphasis today is to talk about passenger vehicle idling. And I want to emphasize it's passenger vehicle idling. There are already laws and regulations about heavy duty equipment, buses, diesel equipment, about idling, construction equipment and things like that. But we're talking about a voluntary effort to reduce passenger vehicle idling, particularly around schools, but anytime when you're in your car, you have the engine running and you're parked and you're not going anywhere. The reason for this is that car exhaust does contain particulate matter and also carbon monoxide and other pollutants, which are very unhealthy for us to breathe. So you see a sign there on the side that make takeout idle free. And this is our newest effort to encourage any restaurants that are offering takeout to, we actually have these nice little, they're not little, these are A-frame signs that can be set up outside of your establishment. So if you or anyone you know is involved in a restaurant with takeout, we want to let you know these signs are free and are available, and I'll get them to you if you need them. I'm going to bring up the next slide. So idling is an important issue because, especially with children, as has been mentioned before, it can aggravate asthma and it can decrease lung function, again, especially for children. The reason for that is that young children, their lungs are still developing and they actually breathe faster than adults do. So if you think of an air filter, like in your heater in your home, they're actually circulating that air twice as fast, almost twice as fast as we are. They breathe at a rate twice of adults. So we're talking about young children. So it's very important that where kids are around, that we reduce this passenger vehicle idling. Next slide. There are a lot of reasons that people don't necessarily turn off their car. Since I've been involved with this, the most common one is really people just don't think about it. But there are reasons that people are making a decision not to turn off their car. They think they need to start their car and let it warm up before they start driving. That is not true. That might have been true 30 years ago, but cars are built such now that you don't need to warm up your car. The best way to warm up your car is by actually driving. Also, often common misconception is that turning off and restarting your car is hard on the engine and uses more gas than if you leave it running. Again, this is also not true. I spent a lot of research on this, and you will save gas. The threshold is actually 10 seconds, which is pretty low. If you're going to be sitting for more than 10 seconds, you could turn off your car and then turn it back on when you're ready to go. We use a threshold of 30 seconds because it's kind of a nice, it's a little bit more reasonable, it's easier to do, and you'll still save money, save gas, and help spare the air. So anytime you're going to be sitting more than 30 seconds, I was in a drive-through the other night for 25 minutes. I timed it. I was in a drive-through. Yes, I waited 25 minutes for a hamburger. And I had many opportunities to turn off my car while I waited before we moved up again. So I saved a lot of gas doing that. Next slide. So I think I pretty much hit all these points. You can save money by turning off your car's engine and reduce your carbon footprint by this very simple action. Next slide. So we have a pledge. There's a website called Idle Free Bay Area, and you can take a pledge to be idle free. And when people pledge there, we have a drawing every month for some beautiful stainless steel water bottles. I think we have a picture of those. Do we have that next? Okay.
I can share, I think I have it later in the.
We had, that's so funny. Okay, anyway, they're very nice. I should have one sitting here, but I don't. They're nice stainless double wall insulated water bottles. And we'll send that out to folks who pledge while supplies last. So get your pledge in. And then the other thing I mentioned is we do have these A-frame signs available. So we do want to get those out to restaurants. In addition, we have bookmarks. We have English bookmarks, Spanish bookmarks, and we also have bookmarks that are bilingual. These can be used at schools and libraries. We have some coloring sheets. We have various other materials that they can be provided to schools or groups that would like to distribute them. Next slide. So you can visit idlefreebayarea.org to pledge to be idle free. And again, we will have a drawing for these beautiful water bottles, and we appreciate that effort. And the reason we have a pledge is it helps to remind people that, oh yeah, that's right, I did that thing, I took that pledge. It reminds me I took the pledge to turn off my car when I'm waiting in that. Sometimes I think I'm going to look like a weirdo if I keep turning off my car while I'm in line at a drive-through. But when that line is that long, like you can bet I'm going to turn that car off and save some gas while I'm waiting. So I think that's it for me. So yeah, that's it. So if you want more information about this, you can contact me. My contact information is there, sanderson@communityfocus.org. And I'm just very happy to be here today and share this information about Idle Free Bay Area. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. If for some reason I did not have the picture of the water bottles in here, I'll show them at the end of my segment about taking the Clean Air Day pledge. So as noted in the event title, we're making this event a celebration of clean air. And we acknowledge that, our air is not always clean, but if we take more notice of it and think about things we can do, like choosing not to idle, that could definitely contribute to cleaner air for ourselves, our communities, and especially children in our communities with their developing respiratory systems. So I have a website here. It's cleanairday.org, and I'm going to walk you through the steps to take the Clean Air Pledge. And that will also share some actions we can take to contribute towards better air quality. So if you'd like, you can pull out your phone or maybe open a new tab on your computer. I'll go through it, and if you'd like, you can do it now or later at your own time. So first, go to cleanairday.org, and you'll see a button up in the top right corner. You can click that, and the button that says Take the Pledge. And today we're going to take the pledge for individuals. If someone under 18 that wants to take the pledge, or maybe you are part of an organization or no one that would like to take the pledge, they can use those other buttons, but click on the individual Pledge Now button. And the pledge works with 3 categories, and it asks you to take an action from each one. So first is switch it out, and just choose any action from here. Choose whichever one you think could be most applicable. For example, eat no meat could be a fun one. Most of these are free or low cost. And next, plant something. So if you're not able to plant a home garden or a plot in a community garden, consider planting an indoor plant. And finally, just choose one of the actions from the reduce vehicle emissions list. And we also have the don't idle your engine here. So that's a bonus. If you click that one, you can take the Clean Air Pledge and the Idle Free Pledge, and that's a really easy one you can share with your friends and family, and it will add up both for clean air in our communities, and also it will save you gas. So that's one I'm definitely going to do. And finally, at the bottom, you'll see a box here, and it just asks for a little bit more information. And Sustainable Contra Costa, the organization that I'm a part of, will not receive any of your personal information. This just goes to California Clean Air Day, and they don't share your information with anyone else. This is just for them to know who's taking the pledge and where they're pledging from. Okay, and finally, you'll receive an email that looks like this. And when you pledge to do these things, you're pledging to do them in the next week. So essentially, what you need to do to receive the prizes is to take a screenshot of this email that you receive, or if you want, you can forward the email and send it to me at Colleen at sustainablecoco.org. And we'll make sure you will receive those prizes. Now, again, I went through this a little quickly, so I'll put the information in the chat, and I'll do a follow-up email to everyone who signed up today. But that's the basic process, and I think it's a fun way to just take on a little challenge in your home. Okay, so now I have one more item to present. And I've started it here with the big question, how can we take action together? Because like I said earlier, there are lots of things we can do as individuals, like choosing not to idle, that can help out our air quality. But I'm going to present an exciting online tool that we can use to keep track of our actions and to fight climate change with others in our communities. So today I'm going to give an introduction to our Cleaner Contra Costa challenge. The challenge is meant to help us build a resilient future together. And the Fall Winter Challenge will run through October 1st through April 22nd of next year. Now, the cool thing about the challenge is that it's a free online platform. It's available to anyone who lives or works in Contra Costa County. And it's a way that we can actually keep track of those little actions we're doing and see what impact we're having on our air quality and the environment. It also has some great capabilities to sign up with your friends, maybe other groups that you're a part of, and you can form a friendly competition and keep others accountable. So that way, you know, maybe if you're interested in helping out the earth a little bit, or even just saving water, energy, or money in the home, it's a great way to learn about some actions you can do towards that. And before I start, I do want to mention that the challenge is sponsored through a generous grant from the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. And Sustainable Contra Costa also partners with the County of Contra Costa, the City of Walnut Creek, the City of Antioch, and the City of San Pablo. So the challenge itself can be found at cleanercontracosta.org. And when you first check it out, you'll see this front page here. If you'd like, you can click on why join, and you can learn about why organizations in the area have pledged to join. And like I said earlier, the Cleaner Contra Costa Challenge is a way that you can learn about actions in your home to save not only water and energy, but also money, and it keeps track of those for you, which is really amazing. At the top of the screen, you can click log in, and all you need to log in is a functioning email. So essentially it works through 3 steps. You can create your profile, you can take sustainable actions, and you can work together. One thing that you can do on the platform is you can complete your energy profile. And when you do that, you put in a little bit of information about how you currently use energy and transportation. And the great thing is that all of this information is kept private to you. This information is just used to calculate how much money, water, energy, and other resources you can save. You can use this to calculate your starting impact. And so you might have heard of the phrase carbon footprint. So essentially, once you fill out your energy profile, it will tell you how many resources you're using and also give you a goal that you can try to meet. So that's great because it just gives you an idea of what your baseline impact is. And the core of the challenge is our action page. And the idea is to find actions for your right for your household. So you can look through this and look for actions that work for you and leave the rest. The idea is to give Contra Costa County residents the tools they need to fight climate change through their own actions. And one statistic that I learned when I started working for Sustainable Contra Costa is that each year, 40% of greenhouse gas emissions come from 5 basic household activities. And so when we have the challenge relating to household activities, we know that making little changes in our lives can really add up. So this is the action page. If you'd like, you can look through those. But you'll see that each little rectangle has some points at the bottom and also an estimate of how much money you can save. And if you click on those, you'll have more information. But first, I'm going to share an action guide from one of the actions available on the platform. So that was a video made by our youth leadership team about one of the actions available on the platform. And the great thing about the platform is that each action has a set of steps and a how-to guide. So that means that you're not given something big like buy an electric car and just no information about it. Most of the actions on the platform are free or low cost. So there are items like changing out your light bulbs or even changing out your air filter in your home. And we chose to share the challenge today because a lot of the actions actually relate to air quality as well. So there are actions like combining trips, combining errands when you go out and you do use your car. And also ones you may not have heard about. For example, there's one called Choose Green Electricity, where you can power your home with green electricity or electricity from wind power or solar power without installing solar panels on your house. So personally, I'm a renter, so that's really exciting for me that I can choose to help the environment just by changing how I get my energy a little bit. So the platform has something for everyone, and it has these approachable how-to guides that you can use to learn about each action. There are also custom resources, and these are local to your area. So when you sign up for the platform, you'll put in the city that you live in, and at the bottom of each action, you'll see resources that will work for your area. So at the bottom, you'll see items like rebates and credits and programs you can take advantage of, and sometimes just more information. So that will allow you to learn if the action is right for you, and also learn if there are any government programs that will actually give you some money back if you choose to take an action. So that's really helpful. We also have a team page and a community group page, and essentially these are ways that you can take climate action with your friends, family, and colleagues. So if you're interested in joining with them and being consistent, setting goals, and having a competition, you can go to the icon on the left side of the page that looks like people and check that out as well. And the fun thing about being in a team or group is that you can see how many points you've earned together, and you can choose maybe one action a month, like the Eat Lower Down the Carbon Chain action, and challenge each other to learn more and take one action every month or every week. Like I said earlier, the challenge has something for everyone. So for example, if you're on a budget, you can just read about turning stuff off, which is essentially being more careful about the lights and the appliances in your home. Or you can have a say by reaching out to your representatives. We also have a category called Hanging Out at Home, which is perfect for the shelter-in-place orders. So you can do things like washing your clothes in a few different ways, and using the resources you have through reducing and reusing. Now, we know that we adults need reminders too for the things we want to get done and things we want to change in the world. So we have a household goal down here at the bottom. We believe that it's very possible to reduce 5,000 pounds of carbon dioxide in the first 6 months because there are a lot of actions here available to you, and ones that you can share with your friends and family too. So soon I'll show actually how much progress we've had as a county. So Contra Costa County has been using this platform, the challenge, since April 2019, and we've actually made a lot of progress. You can see up at the top on the left that almost 760 homes are participating. And on the right side, we've saved over $83,000, 132,000 gallons of water, and also over 6,700 gallons of gas. So that is no small amount of resources. It's very impressive, and we've been able to do that by working together and also forming the teams and groups to keep each other accountable. Finally, on the bottom, on the left side, you can see that we've actually saved 178 tons of carbon dioxide. And that seems a little abstract. So just to give an image, 1 ton of carbon dioxide is the amount that would fill a modest ranch-sized home. So if you think about one modest average home and you multiply that by 178, that is how much we've saved. And we've prevented that from going into the atmosphere and leading to and worsening climate change. So this challenge has been really fun. There are a lot of different ways to use it, but of course you're welcome to go and check it out for yourself. It's found at cleanercontracosta.org, and again, it's completely free to sign up and share it with your friends and family. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me with this email here, Colleen@sustainablecoco.org. And again, reach out to me to finish your pledge. But of course, I'll send that information out in a follow-up email. Finally, just to touch on some of the other things that Sustainable Contra Costa does in the community. We're a local nonprofit that works to provide Contra Costa residents with the tools they need to learn some sustainability tips that they can implement to create a healthier, cleaner, and more socially just world for all. So first, at the end of this month, we're having another episode of our live show. It's called Sustainability Live, and you can catch that either through Zoom or live on our YouTube channel. And we'll be highlighting youth in Contra Costa County that are taking action and implementing many of the ideas they've had through school and also projects that they've done. And finally, our fall-winter Cleaner Contra Costa challenge is now in progress. We're sharing an action of the month each month. So for example, in September, that was eating lower down the carbon chain. And we have exciting new prizes to participate. So if you or others you know are interested, please go ahead and share that with them. And you can also form a team and earn some great prizes. Finally, you can find that all at sustainablecoco.org, and I'll include the contact information of both Stephanie and Kirsten in the follow-up email, so you can get in touch with them if you need. So that is all for me. I'd like to thank Stephanie for being here, and also Kirsten for contributing that great presentation. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Colleen.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Bye, Stephanie.
Bye-bye. Thank you.